What's up? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to a glorious rainy day down in the pits. So we're on the Thompson renovation job site, not the website, and I'm actually out here to inspect footings as we're forming up footings for the addition. So I'm going to flip you guys around here. We're going to kind of walk through what's kind of going on with this project at this point and see how muddy we can get. So as you can see, we're starting to form up our footings. This is all based on the structural drawings we got from our engineer. So we've got a 12-inch footing going in here per design, and that's this entire space is the addition. Okay, so from this point, we're bumping out here, coming all the way across 6 feet from the property line. Then we're gonna run about 60 feet all the way back to the back of the house. It's going to continue beyond the existing structure. And we're going to tie back in right over here. So you can always see on these mucky days, there's our tie-in. It's always fun. We've been fighting rain and snow for the last month and a half on all these different projects I'm working on in Colorado. It's been a very wet spring. Welcome to construction. That's just part of the game, and you just kind of anticipate as best you can when you can go and when you can't go on certain things. Obviously, once we have a hole, we got to try and hurry because it just doesn't want to stop raining apparently. So what we're trying to do is mitigate as much of the pooling and mud and the mess on any job site as possible. The good news with having a wet excavation site is that we don't have any dust control to manage. But as you can see, the downside of this is it becomes a giant mess, and it gets harder to work with, especially when you're trying to set forms, you're trying to move machinery around, especially on smaller job sites. The key to any project is really not just managing people and time, but also weather. We live in a state that gets crazy weather all the time. We get used to that, but at the same time, Mother Nature doesn't give two iotas what we're doing. She's just gonna do what she does whenever. So the key is, like we talked about before, is keeping everything as dialed in as possible with schedules. And you know you're gonna have delays. You're hoping the only delays that you really have to deal with are the delays from Mother Nature, which is what we're kind of fighting right now. So we're getting everything formed up so we can have our footing inspection. Then we're gonna pour our footing. And then from that, we're gonna start forming up our walls all the way around here. Okay, and that's all based on plan sets. The biggest problem you're gonna deal with is exposing homes once you're trying to tie in for additions and bigger work. So we have water management we've got to deal with. So this is what we talked about the other day in the video. Obviously I've got water running off the top of this. We've got to do some more temporary water barrier up against the top of the house. I actually see a wasp's nest right there. I've got electrical that we've tied off and shut off here. That's going to be moved into the new part of the home, so that's going to be relocated. Windows are going to go away, doors are going to go away, because everything's going to bump out this way for the addition. But we've got water we've got to deal with for exposed structure right now. So once you have everything open, you start to try to temporarily tie everything off as best you can, and then work as quickly as you can, and hopefully Mother Nature hears your prayers every once in a while. One of the items out here that we have to combat too is the fact that we've got a severe grade change. So if you guys remember from the first video, we go pretty dramatically up the hill here from the existing home. So back over here on this back of the house, we're gonna have a new concrete patio off the new master. But we're also gonna have, as was before, there was a retaining wall that ran back here to hold back a lot of this soil. Now obviously this gets backfilled, it's gonna be less dramatic. But at the same time, we had to design, because the addition's now pushing deeper into this very raised area, we had to design to deal with the soils that are gonna be pushing up against the house from the back end and control the actual step up in that soil as the new home, the new part of the home, the addition, is gonna be built back here. So in our design, we have basically a double stem wall and one that extends up higher past the home as it ties back in to establish and pick up this soil retention area as we create a deeper depth on the addition. So in the design itself, we've got basically a double stem wall back here where it steps down to a point where we can run a sill plate for our floor framing. And above that, we have actually more concrete with another design and rebar that the engineer came up with to hold back that soil against the new part of the addition because it's deeper into this step up. So establishing elevations is critical. We love technology. That's why, you know, using laser levels and when you grab your points is so much more efficient and fast to make sure everything's dialed in, especially something like this where we have an additional piece of structural we have to pay attention to. So that's, as you guys see when we form these walls up, you're gonna, and especially when we pour it, you're gonna see how that wall kind of works against the step up in the soil retention as we move forward into starting to frame everything up. So I'll kind of address that again once we get it formed and it's poured and you guys can see what's going on, but you'll also get to see all the bar and everything that we're gonna put in here and how that's gonna kind of work together. So next step, like I said, once we pour footing is we'll form those walls up. And then what we're gonna end up doing is we gotta tie that back into the existing structure. So on the front end of this footing and the stem wall, we're gonna tie it back in right here. We're gonna dial in per our structural plans. I believe we're at every 12 inches. We're gonna have a number 4 rebar running into this part of the stem wall, okay, as it comes up from the crawl space to attach to the existing home, because it's gonna become one congruent structure again. You can't have 2 different foundations moving on their own if they're gonna move. Everything's gotta be tied together for load and structure, and that's just how you do that. So that's kind of where we're at. I'm hoping this gross weather goes away for a few days so we can dry out. It looks like end of the week is gonna be better. We should have walls formed up by then and start tying everything back together. And then the next step would be backfill, waterproofing in between that, and then we start framing. So I'm gonna get back to inspecting, make sure we're on par with our footing, and see where our schedule is. I'm gonna go meet with Casey here in a minute and make sure we got everything still dialed up and online and we're on the same page. All right, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching. I'm gonna get out of the rain, get these muddy boots off, go talk to Casey for a little bit. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications. Make sure you follow me on Instagram. If you did like the video, make sure you hit that thumbs up on the way out. It certainly helps me out, I appreciate it. And then if you got any questions, drop them in the comments below. And until next time, guys, keep building.
You can see the world the way it really is. Always.